Hello and a happy new year to everybody. Happy New Year, Vicky.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to all our listeners. Welcome to 2024. And we thought what we would do is actually start our first podcast of the year talking about New Year, talking about how it's a time for a lot of people to think about new starts, new changes, giving up habits, very hopeful about what they're going to achieve in their New Year's resolutions. But Vicky and I also just wanted to have a conversation as well about what we want to keep a hold of, what we don't want to lose. What was great? What did we learn in 2023 that is definitely going to help us move forward into a successful year? Vicky, thoughts for you on New Year's, new starts, New Year's resolutions? I'm guessing in your role, you're probably going to have a lot of conversations around this sort of topic.
Well, as soon as it's even mentioned, I just think January has so much pressure connected to it, doesn't it? In terms of
Yes.
the 1st of January, people asking you what are your goals, resolutions, what you wanting to achieve this year, alongside it being, in my opinion, one of the most depressing months. It's a really long month. People are often stretched financially because they've
Yep.
spent a lot in December. It's dark, the weather's usually a bit pants, so it can be really depressing and hard. And then we put all this pressure on ourselves to start being this new version or more improved version of ourselves going into the new year. And it's a lot, isn't it?
It is a lot of pressure. And I am even thinking about myself and other people close to me as you're saying that. And I can remember feelings of disappointment in the first week of January because perhaps one of those hopeful resolutions has already been broken,
Well,
you
people
know?
set so many, don't they, as well? It's not just, oh, I want this one thing or I'm going to try and do more of this. They go into the new year with this great big list or
Yeah.
making some extreme changes in their habits. I know when we had a quick look as to what national days are happening this month, there are a lot, but the ones that
Yes.
stuck out for us were things like Dry January, Veganuary, and there's a lot of giving up things, isn't there?
Yeah. Yeah. There is sort of giving up maybe old habits that you want to give up as well. Um, and we've talked a lot about modeling.
Yeah.
So if you are a carer or a parent, you know, what messages are you sending children or other people around you? I grew up in a household where there were regularly diets. And as a teenager, I remember weight being something that was constantly on my mind because it was something that was alive and kicking in the household. So we have to be really clear, I guess, about what messages we're sending to our kids about the decisions that we're making.
Definitely. And I was just smiling to myself then because in December, and I know we reflected this last month, shops are full of nice foods, aren't they? And an
Yeah.
opportunity to overindulge. And then it is a case of, right, all the adverts and things now, whether on social media or TV, are about dieting, stop, how to lose weight. And it's that, isn't it? So
Yeah.
our children and young people are exposed to that on all platforms. And so what are we modeling at home to balance that out and to show there is a healthier way of doing things and living a healthy, balanced life.
Because that's what we always say as well, as isn't it? It's about moderation, and
Yeah,
anybody would say that. Don't well, do be kind to yourself.
yeah.
Don't wake up and think, actually, what I need to achieve is I need to be a better person. I need to go on a diet. I need to give up that. I need to stop doing that. I need to start doing that. I'm going to get a gym membership. I'm going to, that is so much pressure. And, I'll tell you now, you're probably likely not to succeed in every single one of those.
Hmm.
Um, because that's tough. Giving up one thing, changing a habit is massive, isn't it? Do they say it takes 30 days at least to change a habit? So you're talking about the whole of January
Yeah,
to actually get something into your psyche. Um, and when things get difficult, as humans, we always go back to default. So, if I'm on a diet and then suddenly it fails or I totally give up. It's not just I haven't done a diet. The chocolate comes out, the cakes, you know. So there's that balance, like you said, of just be kind, be realistic.
and absolutely, when we're putting all that pressure on ourselves, when it doesn't perhaps go to plan, or I know from my own experience in the past, if I have given up caffeine or tried to reduce, and you've got a headache and you're a bit
Yeah,
grumpy and things like that, you are bordering on being a bit dysregulated all the time. Your window of tolerance is already smaller. And what does that mean? Whether you're a parent, for your parenting, if you're at work, for your colleagues around you. And it's been mindful, isn't it, of the impact that that is going to have on your mood. So absolutely being kind to yourself, and whether you give yourself a little bit of leeway or have a bit of a plan about how you're going to manage it. So I know I'm changing these habits. So what might I need around me to help me manage that through the month, rather than, like you say,
yeah,
just cutting it all and then really struggling, been really difficult to be around, been short-tempered with your children and people
yeah.
around you.
Yeah, I mean, the word hangry has been created for a reason, isn't it? You know, if you're
Yeah.
dieting and you're hungry, you're not going to be in a happy space, which is going to influence
Hmm.
on all the other aspects. And I had something really good in my head whilst you were talking. It's completely gone. But I'm going to be kind to myself and just, I'm sure it'll come back at some point. So we'll just crack on. Um,
But it is interesting, isn't it? Because not necessarily connected to the new year, but in terms of giving things up, whether it be alcohol, food, anything like that, for people that have an addiction of some sort,
yeah,
it's recognizing, isn't it, that those things were meeting a need for individuals. And so I think it's really important to be kind to that person and be kind to ourselves if you are changing a habit as to what need is that meeting? And is it fair on yourself to just remove it without addressing the underlying need and what's causing it? Um, because
nice.
otherwise
Yeah.
it's just going to transfer to something else, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, again, you're not going too deep. I've seen friends of mine who would describe themselves as having, inverted commas, addictive personalities.
Yeah.
You know, no diagnosis there. That's just who they are. And I've seen them be able to give up something that maybe is quite damaging for them, you know, give up a habit, whether that's drinking, smoking, whatever. But quite often that habit has been changed into something else as well. So
Hmm.
yes, it might look healthy from the outside. Oh, they're going to the gym or they're doing this. But actually, if you look very closely, the traits are exactly the same. It's an addiction. They have to
Hmm.
keep doing it. And you're right, it's meeting a need, isn't it? People that drink alcohol might be numbing the pain, maybe use substances. You know, I've heard lots of workers in the past talk about people that they're working with who's self-medicating, you know,
Absolutely.
because
And
they're hurting.
it's not even clients, is it? I was smiling then because at a time when we worked in the same office together, working with a lot of trauma, which can absolutely take its toll, and that secondary trauma impact and things, our office was full of sweets and sugar. And
Yeah,
yes, it might not be addictive, but it's meeting a need, isn't it? We know that people experiencing trauma or around trauma are more likely to be drawn to carbs and sugar. And our office was a prime example of that. And there were some people that absolutely you could see at times of stress,
yeah,
they would go to that as a way of managing their emotions. And so it's about supporting people to work through those feelings and meet the need without resorting to things like that, which are going to be negative and detrimental on their health, isn't
absolutely. And I'm picking up on your word, absolutely, because
it?
but what you're talking about again is that parallel process, isn't it? So we're talking about adults that we've been around and in that changing of the habits and you know, new year, new start. But also we might have hopeful intentions for our children,
Yeah.
but linking it back to what you've just said, you know, where are those? And we've talked about this on previous podcasts, and everything's inextricably linked. So we apologize, but what is it? Hashtag sorry, but not sorry. Um, we have to think about what need is that meeting for our children as well. You know, if they are perhaps involved in some level of behavior, whether that is eating or a different habit or something else that you think is unhealthy for them, where is that coming from? We always talk about, well, you've just said it, it's your language, I'll steal it. What need is it meeting? What are they looking for? What are they requiring? And how can we actually maybe think about alternatives that might help them meet that need in a way that is healthier for them and other people around them as well, and your family unit as a whole?
Yeah. And it doesn't need to be the start of the year that all these things happen or these conversations start to happen.
Yeah.
I think it's lovely, isn't it? I know a few families that at the end of each month, they sort of do a little look back on, oh, what have we enjoyed this month and what we're going to do next month. And it's that, isn't it? Looking at the things that you've enjoyed. And I know we've talked previously and you've said equally reflecting on things that perhaps, oh, that didn't go so well, or I didn't particularly enjoy that. How can I prevent that happening again?
Yeah.
And it happening more frequently, reflecting more frequently. Don't wait for the end of the year when you look back and think, oh, I didn't achieve what I wanted to that year, or that was a bit pants. Like, do it throughout the year and actively change through the year. What is it? Inaction,
Yeah.
reflection?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And do it with your kids as well.
Yeah.
I live with two teenagers. I've never made any secret about that. But we often do little bits of reflection, even when a day has been hard, like you said. So if a year has been hard, okay, so what have we taken from that? Even though it
Mhm.
was difficult, what did we still do well within that? What helped us, what didn't help us, what will we take forward in the future? What will we leave behind? Um, because situations are complex, even difficult situations still have elements of strengths or goodness within that we can draw from to help us be stronger moving forward in the future. And again, we've talked about it before. It's about that creating of your plans. It's that constant reflection. What works, what doesn't, what do I need to do differently? And modeling that to our kids, that it's okay to make mistakes. And for
Yeah.
those of you out there that know the cycle of change, it is okay to slip. And in fact, it's entirely expected.
And needed. That's when true change happens, isn't it? When it's been tried and tested and you've had to
Yes.
make adjustments, that's when you know it's gonna last.
Yeah. And don't beat yourself up if you have, made a resolution, promise yourself a change, and you look like you're going okay, and then there's a bit of a blip. That's normal. That's okay. Um, go through the blip. You'll come out the other side, and we'll get back on your feet. So just be kind. Please be
Definitely.
kind to yourself. I see so many people put themselves under pressure. I've done it myself, and then when I feel disappointed with myself, like you said, that comes out in my mood and affects those around me. So everybody's aware it's not been a great day.
And it's about being realistic. I was smiling to myself, and I know I've been very annoying to those around me in the last few days as we were coming to the
No,
end of the year.
it's not true, everybody.
Because towards the end of every year, I reflect on the goals of the year because
Nice.
already I've written a few goals that I want to achieve in 2024. And I do it as goals, not resolutions. I'm not giving up
Yeah.
anything, but what do I want to do and achieve this year? And some of them are really small. I was going to say an insignificant. They're not insignificant because I need or want to do them. But it's that, isn't it? Having some quite small ones that you know you can quite easily achieve,
Yeah.
some being quite big that you know you're going to have to like put some effort into achieving.
Yeah.
And for me, that literally ranges from things in my personal life to work, um, exercise habits, visiting new places, making sure I
Yeah.
see people or things like that. Um, but yeah, what do I want more of rather than what am I giving up?
Yeah. Yeah. I saw a great thing on the internet. It was earlier this week, I think. It might have been on New Year's Day, because I was on the computer. But somebody had done, and it's not my vibe, but I thought, what a brilliant idea. What she was into, like cross stitch, I think it
Mhm.
was cross stitch. And what she'd done is she had all through last year, every day on an even very tiny, she'd made a tiny cross stitch that symbolized that day. So there was all sorts of
Yeah.
things from a tennis racket to a house to a flower to, a piece of paper, anything. But what she's got is 365 tiny little symbols on this huge tapestry. And I thought, what a great way to capture. Because, like she said, some of those days might have seemed insignificant, but actually, when she reflects back, there was a conversation or, something, a podcast, a program, something she read that really influenced her thinking in her year. And I just thought, what a lovely way to capture because we actually do forget about those tiny little successes. We look back over the year, and if December's been hard, we think, God, that was a hard year.
And
But
life is a
actually,
balance of surviving
yeah,
and thriving, isn't it? Not
yeah.
every day will you be thriving and doing your best. Some days it will be just doing the bare basics.
And that's why we always have to be kind to other people because we might not be meeting them on their best day.
Yeah,
And everybody is not a single story. So what you see is not always what you get because it might not
absolutely.
be my best day.
With that in mind, then, what are your hopes and goals? What do you want more of this year, Haley?
I want more family time. My kids are getting much older now, so I want more family time. And that's with everybody in my family. I feel like I've been on a bit of a treadmill. So I just want to, as I've just been saying to everybody else, be kinder to myself and mine. What
Nice.
about you?
What do I want more of this year? More, it's probably similar to you then, and actually going places and doing things, whether that be just on a weekend, getting outdoors and having a nice walk.
Yeah,
I know I was gonna say quite regularly do it. I do it, and I'm like, oh, I really enjoy this. But it's usually come at a point of where it's been forced upon me because other people in my life are like, come on, put down that laptop and let's go out and do something. So I want a better work-life balance going into
yeah,
2024. And I think I had already tried to start that in 2023. But I think this is even just reflecting that this Christmas was the first Christmas on the 22nd of December. I closed my laptop and did not open it until the 2nd. And that is a first for me
I
in at least
know.
a decade that I haven't done any emails or bits of work or an odd online client session. I literally did nothing, and I absolutely noticed the difference in my body in terms of it
Yeah.
being able to fully rest and recharge.
Yeah, and helping you be the best you that you can
Yeah,
be. And you support so many families. And I know that one of your messages would always be that they need to look after themselves so they can support the people around them. Same goes for you, for us, for everybody that's listening as well. Be kind to yourself, and look after yourself. It's so important. And again, just a message, the UK has some of the longest working hours in the world. So, we are a society. I spoke to a social worker recently who became upset, and one of the reasons was she was newly qualified, and what she was seeing is that the people that were working every hour God sent and working from home were the ones that were praised. And she
yeah.
just felt what a pressure that those people are under. So do be kind to yourself. There's only so much that we can do, and we do need to recharge so we can be the best that we can be. And we need to model that to our kids as well.
And we need that time to do things that we want to do. Because I know from a BMBU perspective, I want to do more training and
Yeah,
consultancy and stuff like that because I enjoy it and I enjoy doing that stuff with you. But I
yeah,
suppose when we're so busy doing other stuff, it then becomes well, we're really restricted, aren't we, for time? So
yeah,
then we're like madly trying to cram stuff in, and then we're not being the best people that we can be in terms of what we could offer. So it's just slowing everything down, isn't it?
yeah. Absolutely. Wow, that was a profound and reflective, but absolutely, you're so right. We've been saying this to each other for a good few years, I think, haven't we? And I do think we're getting better
Yeah.
at it. And again, yeah, just slow down, take note of what you're doing brilliantly because there's lots of great things. And praise yourself, reward yourself every now and again, everybody, you're working hard. And spend
And
time to recharge.
I was just going to say that in terms of goals and things you want to achieve, tell people around you because that holds you a bit accountable sometimes, doesn't it? If you've shared it with people around you. And equally, people can then get involved. So if you're wanting to go out and do things more or visit places, you might find that other people are like, oh, I'd like to do that too. Can I do
Yeah.
it with you? So
Yeah.
then it's nice, isn't it, to do those things?
And
So
like you
take
said,
the,
it's go
oh,
on.
sorry. Nope, go
But it's
on.
like you said, it's that motivation. Sometimes you can't be bothered until somebody else makes you do it. But once you've done it, you'd feel better afterwards. It's just motivating ourselves as well, which again, linking it back to what you said, is really hard in January because it's so dark. You get up and it's dark. You come home and it's dark. So you just want to sort of hibernate and keep your twinkly Christmas tree lights up for as long as possible. Um, but yeah,
No. Mine came down on the 30th.
Yeah.
That's the earliest
Bah,
I've
humbug.
ever done
Bah,
it.
humbug.
It's the earliest I've ever done it. Day after my birthday, down.
Yeah, I know people that are on Boxer Day. No, that's it. It's all done. It was one day. It's just like, oh my gosh.
But we'd love to hear what other people are wanting more of in 2024. And we'd love people to comment on this post and just engage in some conversations with us, because in 2024, that is what you will see more of. You will see
Yeah.
more of Better Me, Better Us delivering and doing things and getting out there and not just sat behind a screen.
That looked like my daughter's manifestations there.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. Very good. Put it out there in the universe and it will happen. Brilliant. Yeah. Happy New Year, everybody. Be kind. I hope January is kind to you, and we'll connect with you next month. So all the best. Keep well. Look after yourselves. Thanks,
See you
Vicki.
soon. Bye.
Bye.